Welcome to the Lost Rewatch. It continues. We took a break last week, but we're back for One of Us and Left Behind. I did this backwards. It's Left Behind and One of Us, isn't it? Yeah. I'm on the wrong page. See, you take a week off and you get all screwed up. Yes, Left Behind and One of Us. But Caleb and Stephanie have joined us. How's it going?
Great. How are you?
Good.
Now, Stephanie, this is your first time on the Lost Rewatch. How did you get into Lost? What's your story?
What is my story? Okay, I remember getting the season 1 DVDs and experiencing this new thing called binging a show and just getting so obsessed and emotionally involved and just being so upset that you had to wait a couple of months before the next season came, and was just hooked for, ready for season 2 to start.
So basically, like a lot of people, that's how I started. Yeah. Because I
found Jay. Yeah, then I found Jay and Jack, and I remember downloading the podcast and putting them on a disc and listening to them in the car.
How technology has changed in the last few years. But you podcast about Lost, did you?
I think we tried to get started, but I don't think we got very far.
You weren't with the Lost Chicks? Was that the name of them?
Yeah, but we didn't really get very far at all, I don't think.
Did you start season 2 live?
Yes.
After you watched season 1 on DVD?
Yes.
That's how I was, except I had season 1 and 2 on DVD, and I didn't start watching live on air until season 3.
Oh, okay. And then I remember seeing you, Caleb, and there's an Alabamian in the fan group.
Yeah.
Because you're both from Alabama, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think that's a first on the Lost Rewatch, having 2 people from Alabama.
Am I like the only one that's been on?
As far as I know, yeah. So we're all technically in the South right now. Me being in North Carolina, I guess it's the South, right?
Yeah.
And
sort of, yeah.
Yeah, so sort of kind of in the middle, right?
Uh-huh.
I'm used to being surrounded by like the same kind of people that, well, I didn't get the ending and I voted for Trump. And those type of people. So, there's probably very few here in the state that actually got the ending. I don't know.
I have an uncle that was
born. The whole state.
I have an uncle that was born in Alabama.
Really?
He moved to California, married my aunt, and now lives in Mississippi.
Wow.
About 15 minutes from Elvis's house is about the best I can do for you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So Eckhart Richter has joined us in the chat.
Okay. I think me and Stephanie we actually live pretty close together.
Are you in North Alabama or Central Alabama?
Central.
Oh, okay.
Birmingham.
Oh, you are? All right.
Yeah.
Well, we will have to get together.
Yeah.
As soon as this whole thing is over.
Yeah.
That's why I asked if you guys knew each other, because I figured Alabama. It's like, right?
Yeah. I'm originally from North Alabama, but we currently live in Birmingham. So.
Because when we first moved out here from San Diego, people would go, "Oh, you're from San Diego. Do you know such and such?" I go,
"Yeah, obviously you know that person."
I go, "No." I go, "You know, there's like 2 million people in San Diego." "Oh, but you don't know them?" "No, I don't. And then I still get the question, "Why did you move here?"
Yeah.
I go, "It's great here. I love it. I love it here."
Yeah, anybody that's like from any other state than Alabama, if they're here, I'm like, why did you come here?
Yes, how did you get here?
I ask myself that every day. Why are you here? How did you get here? Why aren't you leaving yet?
I used to tell people for the weather, which they always get a strange look because I'm from San Diego, and they go, "I moved here for the weather." And they go,
"Cooler weather?"
They go, no, because San Diego has actually cooler weather than
Oh.
than
Yes,
here.
it's wonderful. You may have to wear a jacket in July in San Diego. It's awesome.
I mean, it's usually about 73, 74 year round. But anyway, speaking of Lost, we had 2 episodes. Left Behind was the first one. What were you guys' thoughts of? And I know Caleb's a huge Juliet fan. Stephanie, who's your favorite character from Lost?
Oh God, I don't know. It changes. It constantly changes. But it was, these 2 episodes it was very girly. Lots of girl power. Lots of, Kate has to work with Juliet, and maybe she will make a friend. Maybe she'll learn to trust her. And, it was nice.
Maybe she'll make a friend. That's a good one.
Maybe Kate will finally make a friend in season 3.
Well, I gotta say, usually I don't bash the flashbacks, and I know at the time when I first podcast about this, I thought it was so cool that she was with Cassidy and all this stuff going on. But I gotta say, during this rewatch, I was bored with the flashback. I don't know about you two. I was just like, oh, come on.
Yeah, Kate's like my 3rd favorite after Juliet and Jack, but I've always liked this episode. It's hard to say. I mean, personal reasons, and it's similar to like my family history, very similar to my family history. And so in terms of like what Kate did and things like that. So it could probably have been condensed and more importance could have been added in the flashback, but I feel like it was worth it to get the scenes of her confronting her mother.
Right.
And, this powerful scene when she tells Cassidy, I did all this for her and she betrayed me and I want to know why.
Right.
So that's, powerful scene.
Yeah. And it's really interesting that like Kate's mother, like that story of a mother choosing a man over their child.
Which she did the whole time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because and I still say that he did something to Kate.
Yeah, for sure.
We never heard about. I think because he was too suggestive before he got fried by Kate. So that's
And I think
unfortunately it happens
implied.
a lot. That happens a lot with, I guess, both men and women, where the husband or they'll choose a spouse over the child. So yeah, I just I get what you guys say. Yeah, I just maybe because I've seen it so many times, it's just like, okay, this is what, and I guess it ties into the whole Kate, like Kate needing a friend. Kate needed some acceptance. Why don't people love me?
Yeah.
Right.
And why can't I trust? She can't trust.
Right.
And I thought it was so sad when she first sees her mom and she says, she's tearing up and she's like, "You look good." Because for the first time in her life, she's seeing her mom without the bruises,
right,
without the emotional scars. Like she's doing good, but still her mom is just terrible.
Well, she says, like, we can't choose who we love, Kate. I'm like going, yeah, you can.
And her philosophy is it's still unfortunately the mother has from a mental perspective was probably in this marriage that she only ever knew that type of love.
Right.
So when it went away, she honestly thought she lost love because she didn't really realize what it was. And what's so sad is you see there's no growth from her character. From the time that Kate kills her dad to confronting her mom, at least, there's no growth. There's no growth of her saying, I'm going to, or her just understanding why Kate did what she did.
Right.
And that's really sad.
Well, Wayne was her real dad, right? And her stepdad was completely different. So what happened with Kate's mom and the stepdad? Why? Because Kate seemed to love the stepdad.
Right. True.
Maybe the mom didn't like that Kate was getting attention from the stepdad, that she paid. Maybe it's a jealousy thing.
Yeah, I mean, it's possible. Yeah.
I mean, we don't know because they never explored it, but it just seems odd that he seemed like a decent guy, whereas Wayne wasn't a decent guy, right? Wayne was a piece of crap. The stepdad was, took her daughter in, treated her like his own and all that stuff. But
I just wondered if they would have been able to talk more about it. If Kate could have said, he hurt me too, and
right,
if that would have made a difference, or if the mom knew that he was also abusing her as well. It's very, I think that Kate's mom was one of the worst, parents in the series. But after this,
and that's saying something.
It really is. It really is, because there's so many. But the more I think about it, the more it's a heartbreaking character, because she never got it.
No.
He died, but she was still just as broken, I guess, or whatever you want to say. She was still emotionally manipulated by him even after Kate killed him.
Yeah. Sad.
But yeah, I know what you're talking about, Jack, with the flashback with Cassidy. To me, it seemed kind of so forced or so coincidental that in the past, Kate ran up this very sparsely populated area. She came across Sawyer's girlfriend, or the woman that Sawyer conned. Oh, yeah,
right.
Kim Dickens, another Alabamian.
Oh, is she?
I didn't realize that.
Yes, she's from Huntsville.
I was about to say earlier that I had been just all over North Alabama, because I'm from Sand Mountain, and I went to school, at Scottsboro High School.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
Yeah. Then I went to college in Florence, but I've also lived in Huntsville. So
I wanted my daughter to go to UNA. It's a beautiful college.
It really is, yeah. But yeah, it does seem that they're trying to, they are trying to make the characters have this 6 degrees of separation.
Right.
That was a big theory going in. I mean, and I don't know if we've even touched on this on your show yet, at least on one that I've been on, but I forgot how big the 6 degrees of separation theory was in play in this show.
It was
for like a long time, for years.
Yeah.
Like
Stephanie's saying, it was at the time it was cool. I mean, at the time it was like, oh my God, there's, you're oh, she's, and the whole thing, because they're always running into each other. But then you look at it now, you go, okay, that's kind of lame.
A storytelling, yeah.
I mean, they could have had anyone playing the part of Cass. It could have been anyone. I mean, nothing wrong. You gotta like Kim Dickens. I mean, she's a great actress. But it was like, I don't know. Like you said, Stephanie.
It could have been
in the middle in the United States. We run into you run into someone that.
Yeah, it could have been any side character from anybody's past could have filled in.
Well, it didn't even have to be anybody's past. It just could have been somebody that wanted to help Kate out. But again, back at the time, it was cool and all that stuff. But Kate did it. But Kate made a friend though.
Yeah, she trusted her.
And then she tells Cassidy that she should just leave Sawyer or have him go in jail, or go to jail or whatever, and that he was a bad man. And then of course later in the show, she's trying to convince Cassidy that Sawyer, on the island, he was good. So
he changed. He changed. He's a good guy now. He's James. We had Kate ending up in she fights with Juliet at first, right? The island. I love the on island story. I thought it was great.
Yeah.
It was great to see that again. But she's laying. They throw the tear gas in there, and she sees everyone's getting ready to leave. And
we totally forgot the most important part of this episode, which is the very first line in my notes. we begin the episode with Juliet kicking Kate's ass. Ha ha.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, she did, didn't she?
Juliet is bringing her a sandwich, and Kate gets behind the door, and I remember this. It just felt like it was yesterday when you think Kate is going to beat Juliet's butt,
Yeah.
but Juliet gets the upper hand
She,
on Kate, so Juliet
swings
can handle
around.
herself. Yeah.
Well, to be fair,
gosh.
wasn't Kate handcuffed?
No,
No, she wasn't handcuffed?
I don't think was she.
I thought she was handcuffed.
I think she
Maybe
was because
so.
I remember trying to reach for the sandwich.
And plus,
Well,
who wants to eat Juliet's cooking? I mean, I know it's just a sandwich, but she's not a good cook.
It was just like, God, Juliet, you had to be so extra about it. She's flipping around, throwing her on the ground. Like,
Well, I like Juliet though too. Says, "I was just bringing you a sandwich."
Yeah.
But you can see Kate's side. You've locked me up. You had me in cages. You had me breaking rocks. I understand. I don't understand why Juliet was upset.
Or why she was shocked that Kate wouldn't trust
Well,
the sandwich that she was bringing.
Juliet's upset because the submarine just blew up.
Oh, true.
And
That's right. Because of John Locke.
She's real mad right now.
Right.
Yeah.
Because she,
So-
as we say in these 2 episodes, she just wants off the island.
Yeah. So, of course, Kate's just like, just eat your sandwich off the floor. I don't care.
Some flies on it. That's okay.
I'm not bringing you another one. You
That's
only
extra
had one chance.
That's extra protein. And then, but then Locke comes. I forgot to mention too that Locke comes in and says goodbye. I'm going. I told them you're a good person, but yeah, they knew all about you. Sorry that you killed your stepdad because they know everything. And Locke's like judging her.
Yeah, like, and whose morals are we going by here? Like, who says that Kate is not a good person because she took a life, but is it not justified? Sort of that, in a way, kind of justified that she took a life because he was a terrible person.
It was.
I don't
It
know,
was.
like-
It was cold blood, but it was. There was a reason. But I mean, I'm not going to say, hey, go out there and do that. But it's just
Right.
you can understand why she did it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It wasn't like just going up to someone, robbing them, and killing them. Or I know people are probably listening, going, "How are we justifying murder?"
Well,
Yeah.
you have to understand that there's also, a lot of people that are in prison because they, were in a abusive relationship and they murdered whoever was abusing them,
Right.
and prison was the better alternative for them. And, it is a thing.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, but Locke.
Sorry.
Locke at this point he's one of those characters that I've said it before. I love his character, but at times I want to choke him because he drives me like blowing up the sub because he didn't want anybody to leave. Who is he to decide who leaves and who doesn't leave?
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Yes,
he's had a tough life, but that's his life.
They all have.
Everybody needs to communicate. Tell
Yeah.
each other what
Which-
everybody
which
else
they-
knows.
Which they don't,
No, they don't.
and never
But
have.
now in season 1, and early on, we had a lot of that, people keeping things from each other, and that made a lot of drama. But now with the others, they're like with these episodes, they're deceiving the Losties and causing a lot of drama by their deceit.
Right.
Yeah.
But that's all by Ben. Ben's doing, right?
Yeah, like how he's manipulating Juliet in these episodes. We
Yeah.
think that Juliet has been shunned and left behind by the others when really she's doing what Ben wants her to do so she can get what she wants.
I never believed it at all because when Kate wakes up in the jungle, she's handcuffed to Juliet. She goes to take Juliet's knife, and then Juliet grabs her, and she actually left a mark. There was a mark on Kate's wrist where she
I'm
had
gonna
it.
have to go back and look at that.
Yeah, it's like you can tell that like the blood circulation had been cut off. That she was literally grabbing her that hard, but it was a good
How many
scene.
takes did it take?
Yeah. let's see, Kate. But I thought it was a good scene. But the whole time I'm going, okay, I'm not buying this. I remember at the time I wasn't buying it.
I know at first you're questioning it, but then you believe Juliet, and then Kate and Juliet, they get into the fight, and Kate dislocates Juliet's shoulder.
Right.
And then the smoke monster comes. Oh, I know why I believed Juliet for a while, because Juliet was just as scared of the smoke monster as Kate was.
Right. Mm-hmm.
But everyone's afraid of it.
But she did know that the sonic fence and the pylons would stop.
Yeah, she knew the code.
So she knew enough information about the smoke monster, but I think that she probably hadn't seen it up until then.
I believe
she acted
that.
like it was the first time she saw it.
I believe that. And then it's kind of a bonding session. They kind of bond a little bit, right?
Well, Juliet's not been able to go out.
That's true.
This is probably her first time beyond the pylons, And, Ben sent Ethan to the Losties. We saw what happened to him. He sent Goodwin. We saw what happened to him. She knows why Ben's sending her, because she's probably going to die and she's expendable to him now. I mean, she knows all this. And I think that this is her way, her chance to get off the island with the sub just exploded because of, Locke. And I think this is her chance to, okay, what can I do to get out from under Ben's, control and join the Losties? And at what point can I cut Ben off? Because she can't yet, because all that was going to happen to Claire regardless. So she had to play that part for a while until she could make her move.
Yeah, exactly. We also had a subplot going on here. We had Hurley telling Sawyer, hey, dude, you got to change your ways. You're going to be banished.
We're going to vote you off the island.
Yes.
Where are you going to banish me to?
Half a mile down the beach.
I thought this was a fun story, but it was also, I thought it was important because, like Hurley says, we need a leader. Jack's gone. Saeed's gone. Locke is gone. You're next up. And so I think it did change Sawyer in a way for the better.
Yeah, I like how Hurley said, or Sawyer said, I don't want to be the leader. And Hurley was like, I don't think Jack wanted it either.
Yeah, and I thought that was a great line because Jack didn't want to be the leader.
And I wrote down that Hurley is showing his leadership by propping up all these other, leaders, and how that will come back into play later, obviously. But I thought that was how he's always been the encouraging one, and I'm on your side, and I'm going to do it. I'm going to prop Sawyer up so he doesn't, people don't think he's mean anymore, and I can do this by conning him. And then the whole episode revolves around all these different cons,
right? Well, you had Sawyer was fishing, and he sees Sun and Jin, and he goes, "Well, I guess I'm not getting the Korean boat."
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. She gave him the cold shoulder like Sun did. What did he do? Was it about the diamonds?
Yeah, no, it was about the Charlie admits in the episode before, in this Nikki and Paulo episode, that him and Sawyer are the ones that dragged her, not the others. It was he dragged her. It was Sawyer's plan. So Sun knows. So Sun now knows. It wasn't the others. It was Charlie, and she actually slaps Sawyer, and because she goes, oh. He goes, you didn't tell Jin. If I did, there'd be you'd have to dig another grave.
Yes. Oh, I love that scene. Yeah.
That's a great scene. Yeah.
Like there's shirtless Sawyer like burying the bodies, and then Sun comes up and he tells her, and she just slaps the crap out of him, and he's like, "Are you going to tell Jin?" And she's like,
"Sawyer
be digging another grave."
Isn't Sawyer from Alabama too?
Jasper, yeah.
Okay, so it's an Alabama night.
Yeah, in the show, yes.
In the show, yeah. But so you see why Sun is hesitant, and I get it. How could you trust somebody after that, And it was just Charlie had to get, because Charlie is on, he keeps getting told by Desmond he's going to die, he's going to die, he's going to die. So he's making amends and making, clearing his conscience, I guess, is the way. He's Catholic, so I guess that's, admitting his sins or whatever he's doing. But yeah, I thought it was kind of you think, okay, this is just a kind of a fun scene with Hurley and fun storyline, but it was actually a good storyline because it really built up. They do need a leader. And it's so far everyone that's Jack stepped up to be the leader, and when Hurley says I don't think Jack wanted to do it either, Sawyer had kind of that look like, yeah, I gave him a lot of crap too. That's the look he had to me, was like, yeah, he didn't want to be the leader, he stepped up, and I did nothing but give him a hard time for the most part. And Kate didn't listen to him and all this other stuff and Locke, but yeah, I thought a great scene. Then we go to what else happened in here. Kate wants to know, like, her mom betrayed her. The marshal has it all. The marshal just, I'll say this over and over, he's too obsessed with Kate.
Yeah.
No. Does he not have any other cases going on?
Yeah, that's why I said they never explored it, but they had to have some kind of relationship. There had to be something there because he's too obsessed with her.
Yeah.
I think it was this cat and mouse, and it at some point Kate got a thrill out of it,
Yeah, I don't know.
The marshal, obviously, but yeah.
Yeah, but I always thought there was more there because Kate, even when he was dying, she cared about him, right?
Yeah.
Until she choked him, she choked her.
Well, just, when the plane's going down, she fixes his air mask before hers, which just said so much in that just tiny little action. That was one of the first things of the show that was like, whoa, they told such a story with that one moment.
Right.
That a fugitive, why would she ever do that? And I obviously contributed to helping save his life for at least a little while.
Kate cared.
Well, the story with the marshal and Kate, I feel like, is a movie trope going back to like
Double Jeopardy or something.
or something. Like Catch Me If You Can.
Yeah.
This, like, unrelenting cop out for his,
It goes all the way to Australia. It goes all the way to Australia to get her. I maybe I'm wrong, but I've always thought there was more there that we just didn't see, and it just, again, it's Lost. We can think any way we want, but there was a great where Kate, Juliet tells Kate, Jack told you not to come back. He told you not to come back, and you mentioned it, Caleb. I think that's the reason Juliet's mad because she came back. Locke blew up the sub. Mm-hmm. Which kept her on the island. So you can see why she's a little bitter. But she tells, and Kate's like going, "Oh, do you know Jack?" And she rattles all this stuff off that she does, knows about Jack. And she goes, and Juliet tells Kate about the cameras. And we had him on all the cages, 24 hours a day. Jack saw it. You broke his heart. I went, that was ugly.
Is that when she dislocated her shoulder?
Yeah, I think that's when they fought and Kate got mad and dislocated her shoulder. But so at this point, where is Kate emotionally? Because she obviously loves Jack, but then she was with Sawyer. I mean,
yeah, but it was pity sex. It was
yeah.
He was a dead man walking. It was
Well, he had just had sex with Anna Lucia just days prior, in season 2. Or it might have been a week, I don't know. I think it was just a few days.
Yeah, it wasn't very
time period. So it's just, when people say, "Oh, they had chemistry," I'm like, okay, sure, but they weren't in love. And you can see how like the anguish Kate feels when Juliet tells her, like, Jack knows, because Kate didn't know that Kate knew that Jack knew that.
Yeah.
And you see the way when they finally find Jack, and he's like, they took everybody, even Juliet. And there's like this moment that Kate's kind of taken aback, like,
right.
Why do you
Oop,
care if
this-
she was here or not?
Yeah.
This triangle just became a square.
Well, to be fair, there's Jack knows Juliet different than Kate and Sawyer.
Mhm.
Kate and Sawyer know Juliet as a person that watched him, like I said, break the rocks and do all this different stuff and be beaten up by Pickett and all this. She knew the bad side of Juliet.
Yeah.
Jack, as far as he knew good Juliet, right?
Right.
So if they neither one really, both Kate and Jax have a different opinion. It's sometimes we meet a person, I see a good side, you see a bad side, all that different stuff. And I think that's what it was, is that Kate, plus there's probably some jealousy there too, because Kate obviously has a thing for Jack. But then the smoke monster returns, and we were talking about before, Juliet has the key to the handcuffs the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
And she tells her, go ahead.
Mm-hmm. But at the end, when Juliet and Ben are discussing the plan, he tells her what to do in case Kate is, something happened and Kate would know. If anything happened that Kate would find out and question Juliet would just say, yeah, I did it. Yeah.
To earn your trust.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I did it to earn your trust. That's what it was. Yeah.
I don't know. I wouldn't have trusted her. That's just me.
Well, the scene where she gets the knife out of Juliet's pocket, like you said, she leaves a mark on her wrist. But the way that camera is angled, she, gets the knife and the blade is suddenly, it's like this.
Yes.
I can't. Where's the camera? Yeah. Okay, so like that's the knife,
Yeah.
And there's this moment that I'm like, is she about to just stab her like a ton?
I thought that at the time. I thought that's what was going to happen, because we didn't know Juliet how Elizabeth Mitchell was going to be a main character or not, or just a one season done. We didn't know, so it wouldn't be out of character. I mean, I think Kate had enough anger towards Juliet and the others to do it, and if she did, I would have been like, okay, yeah, I can see it. I understand. She never helped me. She made my life a living hell, all that different stuff. But then, we come back. Kate's, you mentioned it, Stephanie. Kate comes back. Juliet goes get Saeed. Kate gets Jack. Jack's still out. How much stuff did they give him, an extra dose? He's still out. Maybe because he was in the room, not out in the open. Maybe that's what it was.
Yeah.
I don't know anything about it. I'm just throwing it out there for argument's sake. But that's when Jack asks about Juliet. And Kate's like, but then Saeed, he said, Saeed goes, hey, Jack. And Saeed goes, hey. And they don't want Juliet to go with him, both Kate and Saeed. But all this time, how come everyone trusts Jack? Everyone trusts Locke, but no one trusts Saeed. How often is Saeed wrong when it comes to the judgment of people? I mean, I was trying to think about when I was watching the episode. How has he ever been wrong when it was about somebody having an alternative, motives where they're like, he was right about Juliet. They shouldn't trust her. But Jack's like, no, I got her back. I mean, of all the people who Jack's been wrong, his judgment's been skewed. Sawyer, Locke has obviously been screwed. His judgment's terrible. But Saeed always seems to be spot on when it comes to somebody's, especially when it's in a when they're in a bad judging a bad person, something like that.
An adversarial situation. Because his training, he's probably been trained to be more sensitive, to have a more sensitive character judgment. I don't know.
I mean, I honestly think he was wrong that when he said that they shouldn't trust Juliet, because they could, because she ended up flipping and telling them, about that the others wanted her to mark the tents Well,
at the end, but in the beginning, though, Juliet wasn't there for her, right? She was there.
No, I think she was there. Obviously, she was forced to be there, but I think the whole time she was there, sure, she was like, okay. Well, the whole thing with Claire was she already had the implant thing, so that was already going to happen regardless.
Right.
And so the other things that Juliet, did while she was at the camp was just she has that tape recorder, later on that she tells Ben, that Sun is pregnant and that Kate might be or whatever. But that's really it. She just gave him that information, and she knew the date that the others were going to come and take over the camp, and she told the Losties before that happened. So I don't think any damage was really done.
Well, Gail in the chat said Jack ends up being right. I'm assuming she meant Jack on the island, not me. So. But I get it. I hear whatever you say. But at the time, though, it's like, but nobody listens. But nobody. It's like no one respects Saeed's opinion.
Oh yeah, I was thinking about that, about the episode I did last time with you with the Par Avian episode where not that one. The Saeed one. Yes, Inner 77. And where Saeed and Locke are butting heads and all that. And I'm trying to think back, was there ever a time when Saeed had like a leadership role other than with Sun and Jin on the boat? Maybe
that was about
it. They listened to him.
He was just always a good soldier, would do whatever, anybody asked him to do. But if I'm going to trust, because Jack's judgment is emotional. Jack, he thinks he can fix everybody. Locke has been conned his whole life. He has no, Locke is the last person I'm going to, if it's killing boars I'll listen to Locke on something like that. But the rest of the stuff, Sawyer is a con man. You can't believe anything he says. So Saeed is the guy. He doesn't act on emotions. He judges people's, he reads people. I guess you said, Stephanie, that's what he did in the Iraqi military. He was, trying to get, information out of people. But I don't know. I was watching the episode and go, God, no one ever listens to this guy.
Yeah.
They're more likely to listen to Kate or Jack than Saeed.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, that was the end of the episode. What did you guys think of Left Behind?
It was awesome.
It's really high up there in terms of rankings for me. Not like top 10 or anything, but or probably 20. But I don't think it's like one of the worst episodes. I think the On Island story is great. Yes. There's a lot of character development, and even though it's another like, oh, Kate's running around again, you find out more. You're able to find a little bit more out about Sawyer and his past, as well as Kate and her past. So, yeah.
and Hurley's just not fun time. Hurley's actually thinking long term what's best for the island and the Losties.
Right.
He's not just building a golf course with Charlie. He's actually thinking, okay, I don't know if Jack's coming back. I don't know if Locke's coming back. Saeed, we need someone to step up and be in charge. And I thought it was a great way he handled it. So yeah, I really liked the episode, but I might have liked the next one better. Next one is One of Us, the Juliet centric episode. And I'm going to say, Caleb, what did you think of this episode?
So yeah, you said the next episode was better. Absolutely. The next episode, One of Us, let's just be honest, Elizabeth Mitchell should have won an Emmy for this episode. It's absolutely in my top 10 episodes of the whole show. At this point in the show, everybody's wanting answers. Why was Claire kidnapped? What's happened to the babies on the island? What's going to happen to Sun? She's pregnant. You have a lot of these questions answered, and it's all through Juliet's flashback. How did she get here? What's her deal? What's her story? Why should we trust her? You have a lot of this answered, and I just think it's great. I think the flashbacks are great. They're heartbreaking. You learn just the depth of how much torture Ben has put her through, and lied to her and manipulated her, and now she's trying to, integrate into this, the Losty camp, and she's immediately met with mistrust and judged, and is probably like, I can't catch a break.
I thought it was fair that they nobody trusted her when they came back.
Mm-hmm.
But what do you think, Stephanie?
Yeah, well, medical stuff, just like the Claire stuff, because I can't stand anything medical because it's just nothing is true to life. It's also fantastical that it's hard to accept. but with Juliet, they make it so abstract, or they're not specific on what she does, that it makes it easier for me to buy, because they're just so they're not specific with what she does. And with her, how she helped her sister get pregnant, I don't know what she did, but
Well, she was developing a drug. She was developing a drug.
And that emotion that she shows for her sister, and when she gets to see her sister, and then Mikhail turns the screen off.
Right.
How heartbreaking that is. And can you imagine trusting somebody to go remotely work for a specific time, and then not allowed to come back home? You're just held prisoner somewhere you don't even know where you are, and you can't contact the outside world. That is just so anxiety producing.
Right. You can see where Caleb said Ben tortured her, which he did, and you can see why Juliet still. And I think that's why the flashback are so important, because you can see why Juliet still is working with Ben. Like at the end of we find out because she's worried that Ben will harm her sister and her nephew. I mean, because she sees how Ben operates. She knows she doesn't, as we've seen, she doesn't trust Ben. She doesn't like Ben. She doesn't respect Ben, and she even calls him a liar in this episode, which upset him.
Well, he can't. He's not allowed to come back to the book club. She's just invited him from book club. So.
But I did like this episode because the flashback, it meant something. It was telling us stuff that we may have known some of it, but we didn't know a lot of it. So it did help build Juliet's character. And it's like, it was one of those things. Okay, she's still working with the others, but we want to like her because I think she's a good person. She's not on this island because she did something bad.
Yeah, and she's carrying out Ben's plan, but only because she has to, because he has her in a bad predicament. Because
everybody on this island, most have done bad things. Juliet has really not done anything bad.
No.
Just but I did like the fact that she when the one girl dies on the table that they're trying. She's upset. She's down by the beach, and that's when Ben tells her sister had cancer again, and I can cure the cancer. Do we believe that the cancer returned, or was that just Ben manipulating her and lying?
Oh yeah. After we saw the sister and the child, I thought she didn't have cancer again.
Yeah, I think that was another form of manipulation on Ben's part, for sure.
Because that's when Juliet loses it, when she finds out that Ben has cancer. Mm-hmm. He has a cancerous tumor because you said you could cure it. Why, so obviously he was lying to her, but it just, what was I going to say? I lost my train of thought, but I just thought, and then you have Jack and Kate going off looking get firewood, and that was awkward.
Yeah.
Are we going to talk about it, Jack? Are we going to talk about it?
He's like, no, thanks.
Kate, talk about what? Oh,
And-
you're sub.
Yeah.
Well, I made a deal to get off the island, but you screwed me over.
Mhm.
Of course, Jack was going to come back for everybody.
Yeah. Yeah. I like how Juliet, she just, I guess she could just feel Saeed like, staring holes right through her, and was just like, okay, let's have it. Like, she knew he hated her, that she was going to have to explain herself, and she's like, just tell me, what do you want to know? And then he starts listing off all these questions that all the audience viewers want to know too, and have been waiting several seasons to find out. And her answer of, if I told you everything I knew, you'd kill me, was just like, oh my gosh.
And then, didn't he say, I won't kill you yet? I won't kill you until you give me all the answers. Was that what he said?
Yeah, it was, she said, what did I just say? She said,
if I give you all the answers, you'll kill me.
oh yeah, if I tell you everything I know, you'll kill me. And he said, what do you think I'll do if you don't?
That's what it was, right?
And then Jack walks up and is like, leave her alone. She's under my protection.
Yeah, and Saeed's like going, I could snap your neck, Jack, if I wanted to. But I think Saeed, of all the people Saeed, I think, always respected Jack as a leader.
Mm-hmm.
One of the few people that didn't really give him too hard a time.
When he stays on his side, when the camp splits up. Right.
Whereas Locke was always, and Sawyer were already agitating him and stuff like that. So we get to see Ethan and Richard off island.
Did you notice the song that is playing in the car?
Yeah, downtown, yeah.
Yeah. When Juliet and Rachel.
Juliet's cooking song, that's what it is.
Mm-hmm. Well, actually, I think it's her waking up morning, trying to just survive another day song while she cries and holds back her tears in the mirror.
Right. Brings me to something I've never believed to be true, because she's got to take the sedative, the orange juice. She sees Richard put in the tranquilizers to he goes, oh, you got to take this before you can go on the sub. I just never believed the sub is how they got on and off the island. I don't believe it, because how do they the pilot the crew, how did they take the sedatives? Is it remote control? Is how this sub gets from A to B, A to Z, whatever it is?
Well, I think they knew the coordinates. I think that they just didn't want her to know. I think
how
they
she
just
got there.
Yeah, how she got there.
But she's in a submarine. It's not like
she
it has
doesn't know that until she gets there.
But I'm saying it's like it's almost like Ben's way of manipulating, because it's okay. Here's a sub. We blew up the sub. The sub got blown up. There's no other way off the island, even though there are other ways off the island.
Maybe they did that on purpose to convince her that there was only one way on and off the island. And she, during those 3 years being held captive there, knew that there was no way that just her could commandeer the sub and get away with it, I guess.
Because I just think that there had to be another way they got to the island.
Yes, like they flew her there, but put her on the sub.
In the sub
so
to
she
make
would
her
think that the sub was the only way to get there.
I never thought of that. Wow.
I've thought that, because it never made sense that because what was Ethan's, was sedated, there's crew members. So anyway, it's something we just theorize on because we don't know for sure, but it's always bugged me. That's always bugged me, the sub part.
When we were in Hawaii, we took the tour. It was like the fish pond tour, which is where that filming location is, on the dock there with Juliet. And they bring you they take you out and they bring you back in, and just arriving and seeing, the mountains in the back, it just I was crying, because
where Juliet comes out of the sub and she's looking.
Yeah. And another thing that really bothers me about that scene, and it's so weird, is that she's wearing high heels.
Yes.
And she gets out on the sub and there's these huge slats.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, how is she not falling? Because you think the point of the high
Yeah.
heel
Yeah.
is gonna
would
go
get stuck
through there.
between the
I'm
slats.
I'm
Yes.
scared every time. I'm like, she's about to fall. Every time, I'm just so uncomfortable. I can't stand it.
She could have broke her leg. I
Yeah.
thought the same thing when I was watching. I go, how's she walking in those slats with those high heels? I don't get it. It doesn't make sense. Did we lose Caleb?
Uh-oh.
Oh, did you guys freeze for it?
Yeah,
Everybody freeze
okay.
out for a second? Okay, we're
Yeah.
back. But,
It shows her like getting up, off her knees, standing up, and
Yeah.
then like, and it shows how somehow the high heels managed to like land not in between any slats, and then of course there's after that it's like a a wide view of the whole thing, so she could have just told her stand right here, but surely like crawling up and getting up would make you. I mean, you'd have to watch where you're putting your feet, right?
I agree. And Ben's the first one to greet her, and he's like, and we're like, and we know Ben. At this point, she doesn't know Ben, so we're like going, "Oh my, run, Juliet, run,
I
run!"
know. He's like, "Hey," I'm like, "Put your hand down. Don't greet her. Don't touch her."
Because we know he's a dirty guy. He is a liar. He's not a trustworthy guy. But I don't know. It just we come back and then Claire's sick. The baby's crying, Erin's crying, and she doesn't know what's going on.
Yes, if a mother is not woke by her baby crying, then something's up.
I do think going back to when they pull up to and they're in the car and they meet, we see Ethan and Richard. I wrote this down because Rachel was like, "Promise me you'll bring her back in one piece."
Right.
And Richard was like, "Well, we'll do our best."
Yeah.
And it's like, the fact that she blows up the bomb.
He froze again.
Uh-oh.
You're
We
back.
all here?
Yeah.
Who froze? Just me?
Just you, yeah.
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
It's happened a couple times, but everybody freezes.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if y'all have noticed that.
We could be getting bad weather. We have a thunderstorm coming through here. It could be the weather doing that, but or Ben, I don't know. It could be.
He's still manipulating people. Yeah.
But you were saying we didn't hear your thought.
Just that that play on words of we'll bring her back in one piece when she's the one who
And Juliet's a smart person. Why it's so secretive and it's so. And I realize that she wants to, work in her field, and she's got, But at what point do you say, okay, I can't, I can't have any contact with the outside world. What am I getting into?
Well, I think she starts to question that when she sees the tranquilizer thing, and Richard kind of talks her into thinking she's special, and what if we could take you to a place where you could have unlimited access to do all this research? And maybe she was thinking it was just a breakthrough. I think she wanted her freedom so badly because she didn't really have it even in the real world either, because she was going to work and it was her ex-husband who was, basically had her kind of kidnapped there at work, bringing in interns, and, she was never really free. And because that was the whole thing in the episode Not in Portland. She's like, I could never go.
Right.
Go. My ex-husband won't let you. And so they supposedly run him over with a bus. And now she's free to do something. And it's probably the first time in a long time she's able to. And she's like, I guess I'm going to do it.
Yeah, that makes sense. Like,
Yeah.
You read about her ex-husband, yeah, because Juliet says, the only way I can go is if my ex-husband gets hit by a bus. So it was something like that, and then he gets hit by a bus, which I thought was a cool scene. But I don't know. I guess because we know what's going to happen, that Juliet, because we've seen enough of Juliet, knowing that she's not happy. She tells Jack to kill, Ben on the table and all that different stuff. Then of course denies it, because at the time we're like going, why would she deny it? But we see that, when like you mentioned, Stephanie, the scene with Mikkel where he has where Richard has, and she's like, oh, they have at any time they could do harm to my sister and my nephew. So I have to do what Ben wants me to do because he's capable of anything.
and she's kind of already shown her cards because she did ask Jack to kill Ben on the operating table, and Ben found out about that. So she knows that she wants Ben dead and was going to do whatever it takes. So
Right.
even if this means following his orders for a little bit, she knows. They both know that they're not, working together.
Yeah, then we had a great scene where Jack returns and everyone's running and Sawyer sees him, and then he's looking, oh, Kate's back. Cool, Kate's back. And then Saeed shows up, and then Juliet, of course, shows up late, and then Sawyer goes, what the hell is she doing here? And you understand why Sawyer's upset. He has the same anger that Kate has. And
because he was kept in a cage.
Right, and had these fish biscuits and all that stuff. But Jack says, it's okay, she's with me, or was something to that effect, and everything. And at that point, go ahead.
No, I had wrote down something a little earlier. Also, when Richard, the scene where she's taking the orange juice, he says, you'll be surprised how much time flies when you're there. And I thought that was really interesting because, first of all, just take it as it is, time flies and them end up traveling through time and all that. But also, time's not going to fly by for her for 3 years. It's going to go real slow. So there's kind of a double meaning with that. Right. Time's going to fly when you're here. But in reality, for her, each day is almost impossible to get through.
Oh, because she's miserable.
Yeah. And then, later it takes on another meeting where like they're literally flying through time, skipping through time. So I was like, I wonder, it always makes you wonder when there's a piece of dialogue, how far back did you know that you were going to introduce time travel into the show? And little statements like this people would be able to pinpoint those later on.
Well, I think at this point they knew. Right? They had to know at this point.
It was like halfway through the season they had it all planned out, I think.
Right, I would think so. They probably had it planned out most early on, but I think at this point they definitely had it planned out because we're only a few, episodes away from finding out. I do like that when Claire passes out, Juliet goes to Kate. I need to speak to Jack. Well, he's kind of busy right now. But she tells Jack, I can, there's an antidote that Ethan and all the different stuff. And I forget, do we do the scene where Hurley talks, he's there to watch Juliet, and he goes, oh yeah, that's where we buried Ethan over there.
So I didn't realize how long of a paragraph I had, but I still have to go back to that orange juice. I have to go back to the orange juice scene because I just feel like it's so important.
Well, finish it up.
Okay, so Richard, we were talking about how he was telling Juliet that, you're so special, all this, and he says, you created life where it wasn't supposed to be.
Right.
And I think that's another important line because not only does she help save Sun and Jin's daughter,
right?
Because Sun, got pregnant on island. It was conceived, baby was conceived on island, which was unheard of, never happened. And then, or a successful pregnancy anyways. And she was the one who, let them escape basically. And then also she helped save, Claire and Aaron. But she's also responsible for the bomb going off, which sends the Losties back to like a certain time.
Right.
And which could be considered creative or created life where it wasn't supposed to be.
Oh, yeah, good point.
And also there's the theory about, the finale, this is the place that you all made together and all this, and a lot of people believe that because of that ripple in time with the incident, that's what created the strong bond that they had, that created this place that they could see each other before they, pass away or whatever. And I just feel like if you buy into that theory that, this place is you all made together, being due to the fact that the bomb went off, then creating life where it's not supposed to be takes on a whole other new meaning. Yeah. I just feel like you can look at that several different ways.
Never thought about that. I was more concerned about the orange juice drinking the sedative and the sub being fake.
Yeah, I guess I'm like, okay, he said this dialogue. Let's
no, you make perfect sense. I mean, I never really thought about that, but you're right.
Creating life where it's not supposed to be. And I feel like she continued to do that.
Now, do you think when Juliet tells Jack that Ethan kidnapped Claire on his own, do you believe that?
Yeah, I do believe that.
Do you believe that? What about you, Stephanie?
Well, I believe that Juliet had no hand in it. That's what I'll say.
No, I don't think she had a hand in it, but I can't imagine I can't imagine Ethan doing something that Ben didn't direct him to do.
Oh, Ben was probably like, "Oh yeah, take her."
Yeah, so
take her, kill Charlie. I don't care.
I don't think it was done. I don't think he did it on his own. What do you think, Stephanie?
No, yeah, like nothing is done without Ben's knowledge or Ben's instruction.
Even though Ethan every time we see Ethan in flashbacks, and he's always, very cordial, very polite. But when we see him, about right when he's got that psychotic look on his face. Okay, maybe he did it on his own, but I still say Ben ordered him to do it. Now, Juliet,
for sure.
Now Juliet, I don't think is lying because I don't think she knows. So
there's a lot that she doesn't know.
We'll give
she
Juliet
only knows what she needs to know.
Right.
I saw that Gail had commented and said that she said she was a mess. Yeah. And that's what Not in Portland, when Richard reaches out to her, she says, I'm not a leader, I'm a mess, I'm sorry, I can't do it. So her ex-husband had just died, and he's like, here, sign these papers, come with us. So she's already being emotionally manipulated. She's the most emotionally manipulated person in the show. But I thought that was another thing.
More than Locke?
Okay, Locke's to blame for a lot of his. Oh, I see a coordinate written on a stick. Let's follow it, and it's going to work out. That's Locke, okay?
Well, I'm sorry, but his dad stole his kidney. His mom used him. He was manipulated a lot,
right.
too. So I'm just making an argument for Locke too.
No, of course, yeah. In his flashback, yeah, but on an island, but they were all manipulated. Man and Jacob.
Yeah.
All I got to say is Jacob. What you want to talk about manipulation?
Yeah. Then we find out that Juliet and Goodwin are an item, and it's been 3 years. 3 years on.
She says but she will leave that island tomorrow if she can.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I think it's interesting that 3 years is the same amount of time that Desmond and her were on the island, and it was the day that Oceanic 815 crashed.
Right. Now, do you think that Goodwin was sent? I know it's a theory that people, when they saw that, said, oh, that's why he sent Goodwin. He wanted Goodwin to die. Because Ben was obviously in love with Juliet.
I didn't think like, oh, that's why he sent Goodwin. I just thought Goodwin
I know it was a theory at the time that, Goodwin.
Well, obviously we know that he did.
Yeah.
He had feelings for Juliet, and she finds that out later that's why he sent Goodwin. But at the time I was just thinking Goodwin's another Ethan, another expendable other that Ben's wanting to use.
Well, Ben has when he was talking with Juliet, Juliet's upset about she goes, we'll find more women to get pregnant, or something. It was something, basically more guinea pigs, that Ben really doesn't care. And we find out later on why, he killed the whole Dharma Initiative, he killed his dad and everything else, that he doesn't care about human life. right? I mean, does he really care about getting, having children being born on the island, or is it just more of a control thing?
Just a playing God thing.
Yeah. Or is it to show Jacob, yeah, I can do this, even though you won't talk to me?
I don't know, because of the lists and Ben's list not really being the right list and things like that.
Because if I remember correctly, Juliet had a look like, really? We're just going to keep, bringing these, having these women die when I can't get it to work. She's upset. She's like, oh my God, I can't do it. I can't do it. He goes, we'll find others.
And
It's
so
like-
in the viewer, we're immediately, we remember Sun is pregnant.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. And you're like, oh gosh, she's going to die.
Yeah. And well, eventually she does anyway.
But going back to the moment when Juliet arrives to the beach, the Losty campsite beach. That's actually where I got married.
Oh, really?
And yeah. And I got married there for a reason. It was all selfish on my part because of Lost.
Well, that's what weddings are for.
Yes. So this episode and this scene and the character of Juliet, I mean, I'm sure you see, I can't point the right, but I have pictures. I have Lost everywhere. But I instantly related to her character, and I was bullied growing up and things like that. And so, and for a lot of my life, I felt trapped and unable to, be who I really was and things like that. Especially growing up gay in the South, it's, the same old story that you've heard. And so when she kind of gets out of that and then she goes to the Losty campsite, I actually changed schools due to bullying. And then when I changed schools, I always tell people that I wasn't able to change my sexual orientation. So I was still the, the girly, flamboyant, or whatever person you thought I was. So I couldn't hide from myself. So changing schools didn't really do anything. It just changed who the bullies were.
Right.
And I felt that so strongly in this scene with her. Obviously they have reason to, think, oh, she's not to be trusted. But to me, it really hit home about like, here I'm hoping to get, another family or, join this other group. And then once again, you're judged, for things that they don't really know, about and things like that. And so that, and that's actually written in my vows to my husband. And, I talk about, standing here on the beach and how alone I felt, just like Juliet was. And that, now I'm surrounded by so much love and, how life changes over the years and things like that. So I just personally, that's a very important scene for me. Juliet's character's, the most important fictional character to me. That's why I have a lot to say about it. And I feel like I understand her very deeply. But I just wanted to say that.
Well, she was bullied. I mean, she was bullied, like her ex-husband bullied her. Ben obviously bullied her because he tells her, he goes, you can't go home.
Yeah.
All she wants to do is go home. I just want to go home. No, you can't go home. And that's just, she's under a lot of mental. I always thought, if the people could watch, like I've said about Sawyer or even Anna Lucia, which I know a lot of people don't like, or Juliet, if we saw their backstory, if I'm on the island, I saw their backstory, I go, okay, now I see why you're doing this. Sawyer, I see why you're a jerk, Sawyer. You witnessed your dad kill your mom and, then kill himself on the bed you were hiding under. That trauma has to be ridiculous. So if you saw their backstories, but then you have to go by how they are on the island, and then you can't, why is Sawyer such a jerk? I don't know. He's just one of those people that's a jerk, and you kind of see going on. But yeah, Juliet, she was definitely bullied. That's for sure. But the Losties don't know that.
And I think Juliet and Desmond are both really special because not only when we see an episode with Desmond or Juliet, unlike the Losties, we see their pre-island, life. But with
Right.
the characters that have been on the island, even Ben, we see before he came to the island, and we see their life and how they acted on the island. And so you kind of get that double dose of, a more current version and more of their history there. So,
Yeah, I agree. Then Juliet convinces Jack to let her go, and then Saeed and Sawyer follow Juliet. And I thought this was a great scene because they're like judging her. Oh, and she basically she knows their history. He knows that who James is, how he killed a man in cold blood before he left Australia, and who Saeed was, and they're like going, "You got me." There's nothing. I mean, it was and as she walks away, she just has that look like, like she hated to do what she just did.
When Sawyer and Saeed try to stop her,
right? When they stop her, but then she calls them out. She says,
mm-hmm.
Torturer, you did this, Sawyer, you killed a man in cold blood before you got on the plane in Australia. And as she walks away, you can kind of see it's you can take it a different, but you watch her look. She gives a look that was like, oh God, I got away with it, or oh, I hated doing that.
I think it's a huge sigh of relief because she's never been able to be vocal and stand up. We see her in the book club being like, well, you don't like my book? Well, you can get out, kind of an attitude. But
Yeah.
she's never been able to have that position of power because she's always kind of been stepped on. So
right.
She's like, in order for me to get out of the situation, I have to just rip them to shreds about their past and the things they've done. And then when she walks away, you almost see like this sigh of like, okay, I had to get really stern for a minute, and I'm not used to it because I've not been able to do that for years because I've been, kidnapped and blah, blah, blah. So I think that's what's happening.
What do you think, Stephanie?
Well, at the time, I was thinking she was relieved that she got the medicine and could go save Claire, but that makes sense.
Well, I think it's both for sure.
Yeah.
Because if Claire dies, she's never going to be accepted.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because what she admitted. Because I think even Jack says, if she dies, I can't protect you.
Yeah,
I don't know if it's when she comes back but she does. Jack does say, hey, you kill my sister, I can't.
He doesn't know she's her sister yet. He's her sister. But he does say, like you said, I won't be able to protect you. You'll be on your own. And she says, I'm already on my own.
Right.
And it's just so heartbreaking because she is. They don't accept her because they don't trust her. Rightfully so. That's okay. And she can't go back to the others. She's showed her cards. She knew she wanted Ben dead. And she does feel all alone. And especially after the sub blowing up and her chance after 3 years to get off the island. I mean, she's going to say and do whatever it takes to get that medicine back because she needs Claire to survive. And I think it's not for Ben. I think it's for her.
Right. I agree. And then she does return to camp. Claire is all right. Jack brings Juliet some supplies, a Flight 815 pillow, tarp, and some rope to build and she says, you know what? And Jack says, they put a space aside for you. She's been accepted into the group. And then that's when we see her flashback with her talking with Ben, and she just has this look where she's looking around. And I thought it was a great ending to a really good episode.
Yep.
Yeah, I think earlier the scene where she finds out Ben has a tumor and then goes to his house to confront him. One of the best scenes in the show. I mean,
when she throws the glass down.
Yeah, when she smacks it out of his hand and you're like, she's screaming at him for like the first time ever.
She means business.
Well, that was 3 years of she was upset.
Yeah.
I mean, you said she's kept quiet, for 3 years, and now she's just like, I can't do it anymore.
Yeah, because he had told her, I'll cure, Rachel's cancer, Jacob will, and then suddenly Ben has it, and now she's questioning everything. Like, well, you convinced me to stay because you were taking care of my sister, and now I don't even, that was the manipulation too. What's going on? And
I can't call her. Is she alive? Is she all right?
yeah, and it's just so heartbreaking because she's, has this breakdown and is like, can you not please let me go home? And he's like, nope. And she just falls apart on the counter there. And I'm like, gosh, she just doesn't have any power at all. I mean, totally trapped.
Ben has completely, like you said, he tortured her. I mean, and you can see it. She just, like I said, she broke down. Like we're saying, she threw the glass. She was screaming at him. It was a great scene between two really good actors.
It's a classic cult, cult, recruitment tool,
right.
Get you away from your friends and family, things like that. And obviously we know Ben is a master manipulator, and that's what happened.
Yeah.
Preying on the vulnerable,
But overall, what did you guys think of this episode at the end?
Like I said, I think it's Emmy worthy. I like how there was a continuation of the plane crash scene where you get to see it again, and the song's playing downtown, and then you see her, because originally you see her walk away after he says, I guess I'm out of the book club. And then this, he says, hey, wait, because all that just went down the day before. And he's like, hey, wait, let me show you. And then that's when he takes her to see her sister. Oh, that's an amazing scene too. And it's just so beautiful and heartbreaking and devastating. And then when you find out that Rachel named, her son Julian after Juliet, and you just see the pain and tear and agony, in Juliet's eyes. And,
I think, like you mentioned, Stephanie, when Mikkel cuts it off and she just grabs it. I mean, again, that's torture. That's head games. What would be why couldn't you let her, watch a little more?
Yeah.
Just give her a little taste where I'm controlling you.
He's like, yesterday you called me a liar, and I didn't appreciate that. Yeah. I'm like, Ben, you're a liar every day. What are you talking about? Like that hurt your feelings. Okay?
Ben's one of those people that doesn't believe he's a liar. He's doing it for the greater good.
Yeah, what is it like? Finally, season 6, he's like, I lied. That's what I do. And he's just like, that's what I do. You should know it by now.
Gail says it was a great scene in the chat.
Do what?
Gail said in the chat it was a great scene. Yeah, it's an excellent scene.
I'm looking at my notes still. Elizabeth Mitchell, just amazing. Obviously. And it also talked about, Ben was like, we need detailed files on every passenger. So that kind of answered that question that Mikhail is the guy who gets all the information for the others. And then he's like, patch us in to Richard in Acadia Park. And it's like, oh, Richard's off island right now? Oh, okay. So y'all can just come and go as you please. So there were several, I'm telling you, in terms of mysteries, this is a great episode to be like, why did they kidnap Claire? Why did they hang Charlie? Why is Claire sick? How was she able to have a baby? Why are other people not able to have babies? And then all the other things I just mentioned about the others being able to come and go and how they get to the island. I mean, there's so many questions answered that viewers since season 1 are frustrated, we're frustrated about. So
that's why I say the sub was just a decoy, because they were able to go on and off the island, because the sub, they were coming from Portland. So I don't know how fast a sub goes. I've never been on a sub, but I can't imagine it getting there quick. It wasn't a nuclear sub. Some speed to it. I'm sure someone out there who's been on a sub knows how fast a sub can go and get there. But I still say that that was just to get Juliet's head. It's always mind games with Ben, and that was just part of it.
It's also interesting to think that she was in Miami, and like you said, the episode not in Portland. So she lived in Miami with her sister, and then they wanted them to come out to Portland. So it makes me wonder, was the island kind of off the coast at that moment? Because this would have been 3 years before the plane crashed and the island was located, where it was located. So what if
Could've been.
they did travel by sub from Portland and it was just the closest route to the island, since we know it moves?
Maybe. I guess that could
Just
be it.
throwing that out there.
I never thought about that, but yeah, that's possible. Would put a hole in my fake sub theory though, but I'll go with it. I'm easy going.
Oh yeah, or they were just like, go to Portland and then we'll fly you like back through Florida for some reason.
They're at an airport when she's when she drinks the orange juice. They're at an airport.
She's like, I didn't even know there were. What'd she say? There were airports out here or something like that.
But they end up taking a sub. So did they fly? If this sub was there, did they fly to where the submarine was? Was there like an airstrip somewhere where the sub? I don't know. We never saw it, so I'm just.
Yeah, like why could they not have flown there directly? Why was there two modes of transportation needed?
Right.
Maybe planes are more noticeable and submarines aren't. They're less noticeable.
I don't know. Rousseau didn't know that a plane crashed on the island, so I don't know.
Well, yeah. Well, I just meant like in terms of
I'm just
like the world knowing.
I'm just giving because it was always bugged me. How did Rousseau not know the island's fairly quiet? How did you not know a plane crashed on the island?
Yeah,
because it did it right above the island. I mean, it was a.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe she was sleeping. I don't know.
She's in her underground bunker.
Yeah. Any other thoughts on either episode?
I loved how, like you said at the end with her and Jack on the beach, she's like, you keep saying that you've talked to them and to the others and explained to them about me, but why do I never have to explain myself to you? And he says that, I saw it in your eyes when the submarine exploded. You want off this island more than anything else in the world, or anyone else in the world, more than any of them, for sure.
Yeah.
And I think he knew that, and I love that scene too.
Plus, again, he didn't see the side of Juliet that Sawyer and Kate saw.
Right. Yeah.
Which helped a lot.
Yeah. And
built up a rapport, a bond.
Yeah. And then I guess the last thing was, like you said, the flashback of Ben telling Juliet the plan, and he's like, go over it again, kind of like torching her, like you would have like Harry Potter, I guess, Professor Umbridge being like, write it down again, to Harry Potter or something, like, say it again, do it again. And she's having to repeat the plan over, and then she just stares off.
Well, that's who Ben is. He's very, everything has to be, everything has to check out and be perfect because he's being deceitful.
And he she stares off into space, and he's like, is everything okay? And she's just like, those, dead eyes kind of, I'm fine. It's just, she's having to just use every ounce of energy that she has to not kill him right now and just go along with the plan so she can eventually get away. And I feel like Elizabeth Mitchell does an amazing job at that. And of course, the twist at the end when she's tying the knot, and that makes you start second guessing everything. But I always thought that she wasn't guilty and was a good person, and so I was still thinking that at this point. And
she definitely, her flashbacks show she's a good person, that she just was manipulated and pressured into doing what she had to do.
And I think a lot of the reason why some people don't like her character is because when she finally did flip on the others and join, Team Losties hardcore, it was in the finale, through the looking glass, and Jack said, Juliet came to me last night and told me everything that they were going to do, and we're going to blow them all to hell, and that's when they bring out the dynamite and all that. And it's like, So her turn was off screen. You didn't see a conversation of Juliet saying, "Hey, Jack, this is their plan to mark the tents, blah, 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 blah." Jack she says that, but it's done off screen. So I think for a lot of viewers, she was still untrustworthy. And I think that probably had a little bit to do with it.
But in the end, I think most people like Juliet.
Oh, by the end, yeah, for sure. I know there was like in season 5, people were still like, "I do not trust her," because she was speaking Latin and stuff. And I'm like, stop it. She is completely a losty right now.
Yeah, because you could she was so mousy when she was, under her ex-husband's thumb, and then she went to the island and could all the manipulation and head games by Ben turn her in, past being a good person to something else.
Maybe she was able to read Ben so well because she was married to a Ben, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, it's not hard to pick when you're used to somebody and you see someone who's the same. It's not hard to figure out who they are because everyone else seems to, oh, Ben's the greatest, Ben's this, but yet she has no respect for him whatsoever, none.
And you bring up a good point, Stephanie, about how she dealt with that for years, and it never broke her. I mean, obviously we see her and she's pretty broken, but she never was like, okay, I'm being evil because I was mistreated. She was made it through, and a lot of characters wouldn't have been able to take 3 years of abuse. And it kind of reminds me of the Hunger Games when Peeta is kind of, they use the tracker jacker venom on him to kind of hijack his brain. And I remember a friend of mine at the time, when I was reading the books or seeing the movies, and they were like, of course Peeta got kidnapped, he was the weakest. And I was like, you don't understand, Peeta is the only one good enough who could have survived that type of torture. And I think that's exactly what you were saying.
Yeah, but as far as the viewer, we don't know that. We just don't trust her because we would be afraid that Ben would have turned her into a monster.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Plus she's not one of the original Losties, so we have and
people
Saeed
don't like new people.
Saeed doesn't trust her.
I work at I have a huge workplace, and people have a hard time accepting new people there, and I don't understand it. It's like the biggest employer in the state. You have new people coming in all the time, but you still don't trust new people. Like, people just have a hard time with new people.
Yeah.
Well, they kind of put Desmond through the ringer too. He kind of was introduced and then he ran away, because he was like, we're all going to die. And he ran away. So they didn't have a lot of let's get to know each other type moments until later. But yeah.
It's great. And it's funny, the people that they still accept Sawyer. Locke.
What's and all.
Locke hit Saeed over the head. Sawyer is, Sawyer and Charlie, dragged Son through the jungle. But but now we can't. Juliet comes, we can't trust her because she's not.
She's so pretty.
Good point. Good point.
Like you're saying, Stephanie, she's not part of our group. She's not. She's new.
Yeah.
We can't trust her.
She's just too pretty.
She was an excellent addition to the cast. That's for sure.
Yes.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Especially to the throwing a wrench in the love triangle there.
Yes, that was.
I also I've been known to talk about how she had the most impact out of any character on the show because her interactions with she took out Jack's appendix and basically saved his life, and she just saved Claire, and she helped Son and Jen and saved their baby, and the incident, and there's just all these encounters, the traveling through time and things like that she had an impact and helped so many of the Losties at so many different areas,
right?
Which is great.
You sold me. Juliet's my favorite character now.
Yeah, that's my goal.
She's my favorite
Yay.
right now.
Until next week, I don't know. But no, I've always liked Juliet. Again, I was in the beginning. I was like everyone else. I didn't trust her. I said, "How can you trust her?" Especially when you see the scene at the end of this, we're like, "See, I knew we couldn't trust her. I knew it. And in the end, we end up. It's the misdirection where like I said, Jen. The first season, we hated Jen. They make you want to hate the character. And at the end, you're like going, "Okay, they're flawed." Everyone has issues. At the end, you have to judge them for what they, who they really are. And I think Lost does that probably the best of any TV show in the history of TV.
Oh yeah, it is the best character-driven drama. You watch other shows that want to be lost, and it just makes you appreciate Lost even more.
Right.
When you watch The Walking Dead or whatever, you're like, that they're trying to be lost and they're just not hitting it.
No.
Right now, I'm have been rewatching. I'm caught up now, but How to Get Away with Murder, and I don't know if y'all watched that show, but
I've seen some of it because my wife loves it.
Okay,
and so I just go, stupid show. But no.
Okay, so it's filling the void right now, but they flash forward and flash back, and I know there's is it chronological loss that like somebody has put together like a thing of loss.
How Lost should in order, yeah.
Yeah, and the How to Get Away with Murder, I'm thinking, oh, that would really come in handy because it flashes forward and back, and you learn more about characters and things like that, and it's been great in terms of like theorizing and wondering what's going to happen and binging and all that. So that's
my wife loves that show, and I just go, I'll watch some of it, and then I'll go, I don't know, I can't take this.
Oh yeah. Yeah, and it starts out kind of like Fringe did, where it's a moment of the week or whatever, a moment of the day, but then the mythology just unravels, and there's so much other stuff that goes on. But I think that, like you said, Lost, does it effectively. It did it effectively, and
it's still
not many shows.
That's the key. It's been 10. Was it 10 years this month that it
ended? Yeah, the 23rd.
23rd, yeah. So it's like it still holds up. I mean, these episodes,
it's gorgeous to look at.
Right.
The acting is superb, and a huge weakness are the wigs. They should have paid for a better wig person.
I think that became an inside joke.
Yeah.
I think people noticed the wigs were bad, and they just said, what the heck? It's not killing our ratings. Let's just keep doing it to give people to talk about it, because they were bad.
Yes.
It was like, it's not even close to, it's like the guy with the bad toupee where you're like going, okay, your hair's jet
the
black,
only person who
gray on the side. So.
Yeah.
And I think it's hard with shows that have that model of flash forward, flashback, present day, because, shaving and growing out a beard and, haircuts and things like that. I was looking at my previous video I did on here, and my hair's like, it's progressively getting longer in every video that I do with you because of like the quarantine and everything like that. And anyway, it's funny, but like on shows, it's more difficult when it's not like Everybody Loves Raymond, where it doesn't matter what the hair looks like, or if they with Lost, they're always flashing back and the hair shorter or a different color.
Plus, Lost was picked apart. I mean, I said it 1,000 times where there was websites dedicated to giving you scene by scene by scene clips of what happened. No show, I don't think, has ever had to deal with that. And
picking apart the promo and all the casting news, and it's just every tidbit of information you could get your hand on, you just picked it apart.
Well, I'm going through that with How to Get Away with Murder right now because there's only 2 episodes left of the whole show. And the episode last week referenced a line way back in season 1, and it showed the clip of this certain thing that was said, and then it like there was this bombshell twist dropped, and it was like they planned this way back in season 1. So as I've been rewatching, it's like, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, they knew this, they knew that, they knew that. So I'm wondering. I hope it ends well, you know. But yeah,
Well,
it's another.
I know
joke.
my wife was upset when Scandal ended. She goes, "Now all I have is How to Get Away with Murder." I go, so now she's upset. There's only a few episodes left.
Yeah, I never watched Scandal, but
guys, I'm on 1%. My battery is about to die.
we're at the end anyway, so we'll wrap this up. Thanks for joining us. This was great talk. Obviously, Caleb is a Juliet fan, and he's convinced me and Stephanie to be Juliet fans for at least until next week.
Yeah.
It was great talking with you guys, and we'll have to do this again. And
absolutely, thank you for having us on here.
Yeah.
All right, guys.
Bye.
Take care. Bye.
Bye.